Hello folks, this is Tom Martin. This is my lottery strategy game, Decoding the Powerball guessing game. You're going to have to excuse me for this video. I came down with laryngitis, so sorry about that folks. So I'm picking my numbers for the drawing on September 14th, 2019. If you'd like to get my game Decoding the Powerball, then please email me at decodingpowerball@gmail.com. Thank you, and please subscribe. Okay, so the object of my game is for you to correctly eliminate groups of numbers. There are 69 white ball numbers in the Powerball lottery. Only 5 numbers can come up as winners, so that means 64 numbers can't come up at all. So for me, I think it should be easier to pick the numbers that won't be coming up than the 5 that actually do. So to help me do that, I'm going to turn to the 5 strategies of my game. So strategy 1 and 2, the game card color code, and the 50-50 picks. Okay, so if you've never seen my videos before, why I make them is to show you on how to use my game. So what you're looking at here is what I call the game card. This is a format that I came up with that represents the 69 white ball numbers in the Powerball lottery. I really don't have anything for the Powerball itself. My goal is to get all 5 white balls correct and win the $2 million prize at the Power Play option. Okay, so first things first is I'm going to go to the Powerball homepage. And the 5 white winning numbers that just came up were the 6, 17, 24, 53, and 57. Again, I really don't care about the red ball. Okay, so what I do is I take those 5 white winning numbers and I put it at the top of this list. And now I'm going to find out what colors they were. So the 6 was green, the 17 was blue, the 24 was orange, the 53 was green, and the 57 was red. Okay, so I'm going to color these in. So again, the 6 and the 53 were green. The 17 was blue. The 24 was orange. And the 57 was red. So now I'm going to count how many colors I have. I have 2 green, 1 red, 1 orange, 1 blue for 4 colors total. Okay, so up here I'm going to make this 366 color code drawings I kept track of so far. And now a 4 color combination has now come up 129 times. Okay, so what I want you to focus on here is the 3 color combination. You can see that that's come up 193 times out of 366 drawings. Okay, so if you do some quick math, you're going to see that a 3 color combination comes up more than half the time. Okay, and to me that's huge because long term, if I just keep on picking a 3 color combination, I know statistically I'm going to be correct more than half the time. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a new game card. So I'm going to get rid of all these colors and start from scratch. Okay, so my color code is right here. Here's the red numbers, the orange, the green, the blue, and whatever's left is purple. So what I did is I took the 69 white ball numbers, I divided it by 5 colors, and that's 1 color for each of the 5 white winning Powerball numbers. And that equals 13.8. So my goal is to get as close to as 13 or 14 numbers per color, or a good representation of each color. Okay, so again, I'm going to start in with the red numbers. Now the red numbers are the last 3 drawings in numbers, and the reason why that is because this will give you a maximum of 15 numbers. Okay, so I'm going to start in with the 6, the 17, the 24, 53, and 57. The next line down is the 11, the 20, the 41, the 42, and the 56. And the last line is the 4, 8, 30, 52, and 59. So again, I'm going to make these red. And now I'm going to count how many I have. So here I got 5, and 5 is 10, 1 is 11, 1 is 12, and 3 is 15. So up here I'm going to put 15, and this tells me of how many of each color I have on the game card. Okay, so moving on to the orange area. Okay, I'm going to start with the 14. The 41 is already taken. So the 50, the 56 is already taken, and the 57 is already taken. So the 9, 32, 37, 41 is taken, 56 is taken. So the next line down is the 5, the 12, The 20 is already taken, so the 21 and the 47. And the last line is the 12, which is taken. The 20 is taken, so the 21 is taken. And let's see here, the 12, the 21, the 22, the 29, and the 32 is already taken. Sorry about that, folks. Kind of got lost on the lines there. So now I'm going to count how many orange numbers I have. So I got 3 and 2 are 5. 1 is 6 and 5 is 11. So up here I'm going to make this 11. Okay, so I think you understand how I came up with the colors for my game card here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to speed things up and scroll over to the right. And this is the game card for September 14th, 2019. Okay, so you can see that there was 15 red numbers, 11 orange, turned out to be 15 green, 17 blue, and 11 purple numbers. Okay, so again, more than half the time, a 3-color combination comes up. Okay, so that means more than half the time, 2 colors are not coming up, and that's what I want to focus on here. Okay. So again, the object of the game is to eliminate groups of numbers. Okay, so the strategy is try to correctly guess what color group will not be coming up and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so I want to point out that all 5 colors do come up. You can see that it's come up 13 times out of 366 drawings. Okay, so it does come up, but it's very rare. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a prediction on what I think what color group will not be coming up. So to help me make a decision, I'm going to turn to the next strategy, the 50-50 picks. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the 50-50 picks. So again, there's 5 white winning Powerball numbers, okay? So there has to be a majority of either odd numbers or even numbers, or numbers to the high side or numbers to the low side. So I like to keep track of that and try to correctly guess what the majority will be for the upcoming drawing, okay? So I'm just going to update this here. So I'm going to go back to the game card. You can see that it was evens, odds, odds. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the 50-50 picks. And the first thing I'm going to do is I kept track of 411 drawings now, okay? And this basically goes back to October 7th, 2015. That's when the Powerball lottery went from 59 numbers to 69 numbers, okay? So again, I had 3 odd numbers and 2 evens. So the majority was odd, so I'm going to make this 215. Okay, so out of 411 drawings, 215 drawings were the majority of odd numbers. 196 drawings have been the majority of even numbers, okay? So I'm looking at this, and how you read this is, again, I like to break things down into every 5, so it shows me that majority, okay? So as I go back into the history of things, you can see that the odds were really, really hot here, okay? So as I look at things, I'm trying to predict what the 5 numbers, what the majority will be, okay? So I'm having a hard time making a decision here on this odds and evens. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move on to the next one, okay? I don't have to pick at every single one. So I have 4 of these cards here, okay? So this is high and low. And as I look at this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to predict that more numbers are going to be to the low area. So in this blue area here, okay, I'm predicting at least 3 numbers will be here, okay? So that means when I go to eliminate numbers, I'll be looking at this red area to eliminate numbers, okay? So I'm going to write that down on my game card, saying that I think there's going to be more low numbers than high numbers, okay? So going back to the 50-50 picks, the next one I have is this left and right, okay? So as I scroll down through, you know, I'm looking at the left side and I see that it's just very, very sparse over here. So I'm going to predict that there's going to be more numbers to the left side than the right side, okay? So at least 3 numbers over here and 2 over here, okay? So the thing about my game is that we're all going to look at this differently, okay? You may be looking at it and say, no, I think it's going to stay to the right, you know? So who knows what's going to happen, but my guess is that it's going to be more to the left, okay? So I'm going to write that down. More to the left side. Okay, so as I go back here, one last one that I have is this red and blue area. Okay, and as I'm looking at this as well, again, I see it very sparse over here to the red area side. So I'm going to predict that there's going to be more numbers over here in the red area than the blue. Okay. So again, I think more numbers to the low area. Okay. More numbers to the left. And more numbers in the low left and red area here. Okay, so I'm predicting that at least two numbers are going to be here in this area here somewhere. Okay, so I'm going to write that down as well. More to that red area. Oops. So I'm moving on to the next strategy. Okay, and that's I'm sorry, I got to go back to the game card. And I have to take away a group of numbers. So kind of getting ahead of myself here. So what I'm going to do is, again, I think more numbers are going to be over here, okay? More to the left side and more to the low, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the orange numbers, okay? Because, again, I think more numbers will be here, and there's only 4 orange, okay? There's one here, and there's a bunch here. So, again, my guess is that no orange numbers are going to come up, so I want to get rid of them. And hopefully none of these orange numbers come up. Okay, so when I block out a number like this means that I'm not even going to consider this number when I'm picking what I think would be the 5 white winning Powerball numbers, okay? So what I'm doing here is I'm spending $3 on a Powerball ticket, which includes the power play. So in other words, I'm betting $3 that none of these orange numbers will come up in the next drawing. Okay, so if I'm correct with my bet and none of these orange numbers come up, then I'm one step closer to that $2 million prize. Okay, so I'm off to the next strategy. And that's strategy number 3, the individual numbers. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the individual numbers. Okay, so basically what I did is I took the 69 white ball numbers and I divided it into 7 different groups. So this is group number 1. It holds the numbers of 1 through 9. Okay, this is the only one with 9 numbers where the other 6 have 10. Okay, for 69 numbers. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to update this here. So the last drawing, a 6 came up. So I'm going to follow this plane to the 6, and I'm going to make this a green square, okay? Now I'm making it green because the 6 is green, okay? And the 6 is green because of the color code said it was green, okay? So there's a couple ways that I could use this here. Like I could highlight this 6 and go back into the history and see what colors have come up or see what colors have not come up recently, okay? So what I do here is I'm going to reduce this down so you can see the whole card. Okay, so again, I want to point out that there's 7 of these groups here, okay? And there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers, okay? So I know that 2 of these groups cannot have a winning Powerball number to it. So the strategy is try to correctly guess what group will not have the winning Powerball number to it and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card, okay? So how you read this is this big square right here. This is good for 5 drawings, okay? So the reason why I make it into 5 is for a couple reasons. One, as I go back into the history of things, it's easier to count going 5, 10, 15, 20, and so on, okay? But my theory is that if there's a lot of hits within this 5 drawings, then maybe there won't be so many hits in the next 5 drawings, okay? So again, I'm going to make a prediction on what I think is going to happen. And what I'm going to do is say, I don't think any 50 numbers are going to come up. Okay. Now a 50 number has come up in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drawings. Okay. And as I go to the history of things here, you're going to see that when it hits 5 drawings in a row, like 95% of the time, it won't come up a 6th time. Okay. So there's that slight chance that it will. Okay. But I'm going to go with the odds and say that none of these 50 numbers are going to come up. Okay, so I'm going to blow this back up and go back to my game card and eliminate the 50 numbers off of the game card. So one last thing that I have here is this 4 tells me how many groups it hit out of this 7. So this last drawing, it hit 4 groups out of 7, okay? And a 4 comes up the most, okay? Actually, I got to make this red here. A 4 comes up the most, and then a 3, and then a 5 will come up every now and again, and the 2 will come up like every once in a blue moon, okay? Like right here. So I never seen a 1. I never seen all 5 winning Powerball numbers in one grouping like this, okay? I'm sure it will happen someday, but I haven't seen it yet, okay? So again, I'm going to go back to the game card, and I'm going to get rid of the 50 numbers off of my game card. So the 51, 52, 54, 55, 56, 57, 59, 53, and 58 are over here. So I'm going to take those off the game card, and hopefully those 50 numbers do not come up, okay? So I'm off to the next strategy. And that's strategy number 4, picking the numbers I hope will miss from group 1. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call my group 1 numbers, okay? So basically what I did is I divided all the numbers into 4 different color groups, okay? So when the 5 white winning Powerball numbers land within these colored groups, I record where they land down here in the stats, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and update this right now, okay? So a 6 came up, that was in the blue area. The 17 in the red. 24 in the blue. 53 shares the square with the 69 here, okay? So that's green. And the 57 came up, and that's orange, okay? So I'm going to fill this in. So I had 1 in the red area, the 17, 2 in the blue, 1 in the orange, 1 in the green. And when it hits all 4 colors like that, I call this a row, okay? So if there's a hit, I color the background red for hot. And if there's a miss like right here, okay, then I color the background blue for cold. Okay, so in this last drawing here, you can see that no blue numbers came up. So in the last drawing, if I could have correctly guessed that none of these blue numbers were going to come up, I could have eliminated all these numbers and gave myself a much better chance at winning some kind of prize in the Powerball lottery. Okay, so again, the strategy is try to correctly guess where these zeros are going to pop up. Okay. So I have 15 of these option cards, and they all have the same colors as red, blue, orange, and green, okay? So it's just that the numbers that they represent are a little bit different from each other from each different option card, okay? So I'm going to make a prediction here, and I'm going to predict that this option card number 1, no blue numbers are going to come up, okay? So why I'm picking this, and again, we're all going to look at this differently, okay? But as you can see right here, if a 0 comes up here, then I have to put a 1 here, like right over here, okay? Now a 1 comes up a lot. So here's one over here. Here's 1, 1, 1, okay, 1. So you can see it comes up a lot here, okay? So in this blue area, there hasn't been a 1 like this in a long time, okay? So as I scroll down through, it's right here, okay? So before that, there was 1 right here, so, and a couple right here. So, you know, it comes up a lot, and here it is. It just hasn't come up in a long time. So I'm going to predict that this is going to be a 1 right here. So this has to be a 0, okay? So again, I'm going to get rid of all these blue numbers off of my game card, okay? So as I go back to the game card here, I'm going to get rid of all these numbers, including the 8 over here. And I'll tell you why, okay? So as I go back to this group 1, actually I go back to the game card, and you can see that there's 5 numbers over here to the left, okay? And as I go back to group 1, you can see that there's no numbers over here. So basically what I wanted was this grid of 8 squares across and 8 squares down. But that's only good for 64 numbers, okay? There's 69 in the Powerball lottery, okay? So I had to pair up a couple of these squares, like the 8 shares the square with the 66, the 19 with the 67, the 25 and the 65, the 53 and the 69, and the 58 and the 68, okay? So this is how I do things is, you know, if I get rid of the 8 and the 66, I'm going to get rid of that with all these other numbers as well, okay? So it's just my way of grouping up numbers, okay? So again, when I get rid of all these 16 squares, I'm actually getting rid of 17 numbers, okay? So I'm going to go back to the game card. And again, you can see that I got rid of those, so I'm going to go back to group 1 and make another pick. And that is option card number 7, no green numbers. Okay, so the reason why I'm picking this one is this has hit 37 drawings in a row, okay? So this is a record for all 15 option cards. The last record was 33, okay? So, you know, this green area represents 20 numbers, okay? So the 866, 1967, 53, 69, and 58, 68, plus what all these other green ones equals 20 numbers, okay? So you can see why it would go on a pretty good run like this, okay? And it's only had a blue mark 66 times, where this orange area has had this blue mark 108 times, okay? But, you know, there's 49 other numbers that could come up, okay? So I don't think that this is going to go on for too much longer, okay? So since it's already broken a record, I'm going to take the 0 here, and if a green number comes up in this drawing, well, the next drawing I'm going to take a 0 here again until it misses, okay? So what this is it's the 4 corners here, and then the middle, and then this pattern over here, and this pattern over here, okay? So I'm going to get rid of the middle here, and that includes that 19. And I'll get rid of those numbers. So hopefully this finally misses and none of those numbers come up. Okay, so going back to group 1, I'm going to make another prediction here. And that's option card number 8, no green numbers. Okay, so the reason why I'm picking this one is you can see that here's a single 0, but sometimes it doubles up like over here or even triples up. Okay, this has had a 16 single zeros in a row here. Okay, so I'm hoping it's going to double up right here. I'm hoping it's due to do that, okay? So again, I hope there's a 0 right here, so I'm going to get rid of all these green numbers. So I don't have to worry about this one. So here it's the 4, 9 down to the 27, this bow tie looking thing, and then the 61, 38 all the way down. So I'll get rid of the 4 and the 27, the 44 and the 49, and I think it was the 61 and 68. Go back and double check. Yeah, okay. The 61 and 38. So, okay, so moving on to the next one. And the next one I'm going to pick is option card number 10, no blue numbers. Okay, so you can see it says no 3 here. Okay, and what that means is that this blue area has never had 3 zeros in a row. Okay. So this is the last one left out of all 15 option cards. So I'm going to hope that this is due to happen. So I think that the 0 is going to be here for this drawing. And I think there's going to be 0 in the next drawing. Okay. So we'll see what happens. So I'm going to get rid of these groups of numbers here. It has the same pattern of the 4, 10, 18, 28 in all 4 squares. So I'll get rid of the 28, 36, 42, 60. The 40, 46, and the 64. Hopefully none of those numbers come up. Okay, so that's all I'm going to pick out of this group 1. Okay, so I'm moving on to the next strategy. I'll actually show you all 15 option cards. So here's 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Okay, so I'm going off to the next strategy, and that's strategy number 5, picking the numbers I hope will miss from group 2. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call my group 2 numbers, okay? So much like group 1, where I divided things into 4 different color groups, here I divided things into 8 different color groups, okay? So it's just another way of looking at groups of numbers, okay? Except with this one, I know that there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers, and 3 of these color groups cannot have a winning Powerball number to it, okay? So the strategy is try to correctly guess what color group will not have the winning Powerball number to it and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card, okay? So I'm going to update this as well. So the numbers that just came up were the 6 in the brown area, the 17 in the red, 24 in the yellow, 53 in the purple, and 57 in the red. So I had 2 red, a purple, a brown, and a yellow. So down here is current. I'm starting a new row right here, okay? So in the red area, there was 2 numbers, the 17 and 57. So there's no winning Powerball numbers in the blue area, no winning Powerball numbers in the orange, no winning Powerball numbers in the green. There was that 1 in the purple, the 53, 1 in the brown, that's 6. No winning Powerball numbers in the gray, and 1 in that yellow, the 24, okay? So here I'm going to count how many color groups came up. So I got 1, 2, 3, and 4. So here I'm going to write down 4, okay? And now I find the majority, and the majority is on the right side. So I'm going to color this 4 green. That tells me that the majority was on the right side. Okay, so now I'm going to make a prediction on what I think, where I think the 0 is going to be, okay? So I know that there's going to be at least 3 zeros here, all right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with the yellow area here. I think the 0 is going to be right here, okay? So one more thing I have to explain is why this is colored blue and why this is colored red, okay? So again, I like to break things down into 5, and you can see that the majority out of this 5 drawings is 3 zeros or 3 misses, okay? So when that happens, I color the background blue for cold. And the next one down, you can see that the majority is hits. And when that happens, I color the background red for hot, okay? So when I see something like this, where it's been really, really hot, well, I know it's going to cool down eventually. I just have to correctly guess when that's going to happen. So again, I'm going to predict that over here is going to have a 0 to it. So I'm going to get rid of the yellow numbers, okay? So now I'm going to go up and see what those numbers are. And it's the 66 that runs down to the 64. So I'll go back to the game card, and there's nothing here to eliminate, okay? So here's the thing. As I come back here to this group 2, okay, the thing is that I have 15 of these option cards, and they all have the same numbers, the same colors as red, blue, orange, green, purple, brown, gray, yellow. It's just that the numbers that they represent are a little bit different from each other from each different option card, okay? So out of those 15, there's an average, okay? And the average runs from 3.8 to 4.2, okay? Now what I mean by that, and what I'm trying to say here, is that on average, for all 15 option cards, 4 of these color groups are going to have a hit to it, and 4 of these color groups are going to have a miss to it, okay? So what I'm trying to say here is I made the pick in yellow. There's nothing to get rid of, okay? So the thing is that if I come back to this option card 1 and I make another pick here, the odds of me getting it correct go way, way up, okay? Especially if I got this yellow one correct already, okay? Getting 2 of them is hard. The odds, again, are going to go way, way up that you're going to get it wrong, okay? So I designed this to move on to the next option card here, where you have that 50-50 guess again, okay? So here, option card number 2, I've been looking at this, and, you know, I just couldn't make a decision on what I think is going to happen here. So I'm going to leave this one alone. I got 15 options to choose from, so I don't need to pick out them all, okay? So I'm going to move on to option card number 3, and I decided to go with brown, okay? So as I scroll down here, you can see this brown area got really, really hot through here, and now I think the 0 is going to be right here. So I'm going to get rid of these brown numbers, and that's the 5 and the 34 to the 68. So you can see that there's nothing to get rid of, so I'm going to go back, and I'm going to move on to the next option card, which is 4. And I'm going to go with brown again. So here's the brown, and as I scroll down, you can see that things got pretty hot through here, so I think the 0 is going to be right here. And I'm going to get rid of these brown numbers, which is the 9 and the 45 to the 48. And there's nothing to get rid of, okay? So moving on to 5, I'm going to take the brown as well, and you can see that the brown's right here, where you know that there's no numbers there, okay? So moving on to 6, I'm going to go with orange. So here's the orange. And as I scroll down, you can see that things got pretty hot right through here. So I'm hoping that 0 is going to be right here. So I'm going to get rid of these orange numbers, okay? So another reason why I'm picking this is because, again, I think more numbers are going to be to the left side than the right side, okay? So again, I'm going to get rid of these, and it's the 37, 46, 69, 62. So I'll get rid of the 62. At least it's one more number off my game card, okay? So hopefully that's correct, and that 62 won't come up, okay? So moving on to 7. I decided to go with yellow. So here's the yellow, and as I scroll down through, you can see how hot this has been. And I think the 0 is going to be right here. So we'll see what happens. And I'm going to get rid of the 17, 26, 67, 28. So I'll get rid of the 17 and the 26. Hopefully those numbers don't come up. Okay, so moving on to 8. And again, I have 15 of these option cards, so I'm halfway done here. Okay, so I'm going to go with red. You can see how hot this has been here, so I'm hoping the 0 is going to be right here. So it's the 5, 16, 21, 31. So the 63 gets eliminated as well, so I'll get rid of that. Okay, so moving on to 9, I'm going to go with blue. So here's the blue, and as I scroll down, you can see how hot things have been. So I'm hoping the 0 is going to be right here. And that's the 227 pattern on the left side and 1621 pattern on the right side. So I'll get rid of this 2. Okay, so moving on to 10, I'm going to take brown. So here's the brown, and as I scroll down through, I'm going to see that things got pretty hot here, so I'm hoping the 0 is going to be right here. And I'm going to get rid of these brown numbers. It's the same pattern, 11, 26 in all 4 squares. So I'll get rid of the 43. It's one more number, okay? So moving on to 11, I'm going to go with orange. So here's the orange, and you can see how hot things have been in this orange area. So again, I'm hoping the 0 is going to be right here. And that's the 66, 67, 33, 54. So I'll get rid of the 33, 41. Hopefully those numbers do not come up. Okay, so moving on to 12, I'm going to go with purple. So here's the purple, and as I scroll down through, you know, things got pretty hot down through here, so I'm hoping the 0 is going to be right here. So it's the 6 to the 30 and the 34 to the 68. And there's nothing to get rid of. So moving on to 13, I'm going to go with gray. So here's the gray, and as I scroll down through, you're going to see that things got pretty hot down through here, so I'm hoping the 0 is going to be right here. So it's the 5 and the 33, and I know that there's no numbers here at all, okay? So moving on to 14. I couldn't make a decision here on 14. I'm going to scroll down anyways. I guess this gray looked pretty attractive, I guess. But I didn't pick it. I just don't have that gut feeling. Okay, so moving on to 15. And that's brown again. So as I scroll down through, well, you can see that there was no numbers here at all. Okay. So now I got 6 numbers left, okay? So the 25 shares the square with the 65, so, you know, that causes a problem in the end here like that, okay? But this is the only way that I saw that I could do this, okay, is to eliminate numbers. So now I got to turn back to those 50-50 picks. Okay, so again, I thought, actually I wrote them down, so I think more numbers to the low side, which I will make that happen, more to the left, and more to that red. So all that will happen here. So I got to make a decision on what number I do not want, okay? So as I look at this, more than half the time, a 3-color combination comes up. So you can see that in the last 3 drawings, a 4 has come up. So I'm kind of expecting a 3 here, okay? So I want 3 colors. So I'm going to go with the 2 blue and the 2 purple. So I have to get rid of either the 3 or the 20. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, since I see a lot of green through here, I decided to get rid of the green, so I'm going to get rid of this 3 here. Okay, so that brings me down to 5 numbers, so I'm going to go with the 1, the 20, the 25, the 39, and the 65. Okay, so I'm just going to highlight these. So the numbers that I'm going to go with again are the 1, 20, 25, 39, and 65. Okay? So I think Sherlock Holmes said it the best when he said that it's a matter of deduction. Okay? So if these blocked out numbers don't come up, then the highlighted numbers have to come up. Okay? So what are the odds that I made all the correct picks? So let me go over the official odds. And the official odds to get all 5 white balls and the red ball correct, the grand prize is 1 in 292 million, okay? My goal is to get all 5 white balls correct, and the odds of that are 1 in 11,688,000, okay? So, in other words, you can make nearly 12 million different 5-number combinations out of 69 numbers, okay? So, I don't want to give any kind of illusions that this is going to be easy to win, okay? So another nice prize is the 4 white balls and a red ball, pays 50,000. The odds of that are just about 1 in a million, and these are the other odds right here. Okay, so I just want to go over a budget. You know, if you spend $3 per drawing, there's 2 drawings per week, you would spend $312 per year on the lottery. Okay, so moving on, I do have something for the Powerball number itself. Over in this column here, the left one, there's 26 red numbers total. So if you see a blue number, that's low, 1 to 13. Red is 14 to 26, okay, high. And over here, if you see a red, that's odd number. If you see a blue, that's even numbers, okay? So why I do this is now if I just see a streak of blue like this, well, I know it's going to turn red eventually. I just have to correctly guess when that's going to happen, okay? So in closing, I want to thank you for watching. If you would like to support my channel, then please go to my Patreon page at www.patreon.com/Decoding the Powerball. And as always, I want to wish you the best of luck with your picks.